What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today, I wanted to showcase the Shadow Annihilate team that helped me reach top 10 worldwide today with Ice Punch Annihilate. This is a very interesting moveset. You've seen a lot of close combat Annihilates, I'm sure, in the Go Battle League, but Ice Punch coverage helps you against Clodsire, it helps you against Jumpluff. It is very flexible, and combining it with the Ghost and the Fighting type pressure you already have, it is one of the scariest Pokemon in the game. If you want to see my battles live, I stream almost every single day at twitch.tv/ItsAXN, where you can see live insights into my gameplay and see my teams early. I'd love to see you there, but without further ado, let's get into the battles and see what this team can do. Alright, let's jump right on into the first game of the day. Pangoro up against Jumpluff in the lead. One of the best matchups we could see. A Flying type with Fairy type coverage. They're going to have to get out of this matchup as soon as they can. And they end up swapping to a Starmie as their safe swap. This is a little bit scary. We don't have a hard answer to this. Jumpluff being a Grass type is one of our better checks to it. But we also want our Jumpluff for that Pangoro. Power Gem's going to come through. I tried to call maybe that they're running Thunder, or maybe that they bait us here. But Power Gem already puts us into the red health. This isn't looking great. I go for the Aerial, so we do get a shield back. And now since we know Pangoro's in the lead, and we have a Shadow Annihilate in the backline that can still deal with it as well, I'm going to bring in Dunsparce here, kind of just sacrifice it and make it so we can kind of just sponge energy, go for these rollouts and these drill runs, neutralize Starmie, and then invest in our Shadow Annihilate later on. Drill run is going to come through. It might not be quite enough to knock out, but it should put them low enough that fast moves will be able to take out the Starmie pretty easily after the fact. They do let them move through and swap back actually to their Pangoro instantly. This is a very interesting play by our opponent. If they can farm me down before I can reach another drill run, they're going to be in a very good spot. But if they can't, if I can reach another drill run here, they're going to have to consider shielding a Dunsparce against Pangoro. We do reach the next charge move. This is fantastic for us right now. Drill Run ends up landing against his Pangoro, taking it out all the way, and in the back going to be another Pokemon that our Shadow Annihilate has a lot of play into. We have shield advantage. We have a Shadow Annihilate with these counters. They top left, realizing that there's not much they can do with that much fast move pressure in the bank. All right, next game we're going to see an Annihilate, or a Alolan Sandslash rather, in the lead up against our Jumpluff. Going to have to swap in Annihilate here and try our best to win this secondary matchup. Well, that is a good sign. Shadow Annihilate into regular Annihilate is one of the best matchups you could possibly be in. If you just land one Rage Fist, you can tap your screen all the way down until this thing faints. They do not get to 2 charge moves against you, and this is looking amazing for us right now. Not only are we going to be boosted, we're going to take almost no damage, and we're going to come out with almost a full-on charge move here loaded up against whatever they want to bring in the back. They did have an Azumarill, so I think they probably should have brought that in instead of their own Annihilate. They must have been a little bit scared. They saw that their Alolan Sandslash was taking so much damage. They swapped as quick as they could, but if they came in Azumarill, this could have been a much more tricky game for us. But with that said, we reached yet another Rage Fist. Look at how much damage we're doing with neutral and resisted damage already to this Azumarill, one of the bulkiest Pokemon in the game, taking so much damage from our Annihilate. At this point, it's done its job, though. We'll let this go, come in Jumpluff here, use our Dunsparce against that Alolan Sandslash in the backline, and we should have this game under wraps. This is not even a Shadow Alolan Sandslash here, so I can easily survive 2 charge moves. Our opponent realizes not much that they can do there. GG's to them. Alright, next game, Jumpluff up against a Stunfisk in the lead. The Unova Stunfisk with that recently buffed Thundershock is going to be a very interesting lead matchup. They are opting to stay in here, it looks like. These Thundershocks are doing quite a bit of damage to us, but Discharge is not a great charge move. It's not going to do all that much damage, and I know that these Energy Balls are super effective. If they let us throw this against them, it's going to do way more damage than anything else I could throw into this anytime soon. Energy Ball is going to end up landing against this Stunfisk, and now we have another one almost loaded. They throw another Discharge right before we can reach it, but this is looking fantastic for us right now. This is going to set up our backline potentially to not have to deal with a Pokemon that is very spammy. Next Energy Ball is going to potentially land or draw a shield. If they end up shielding, I'll probably just let my Jumpluff go and farm down with my Annihilate, but they let that go themselves. We have quite a healthy Jumpluff here, and they come in with a Pokemon with almost no fast move pressure into us with a Cresselia. This is fantastic. This Jumpluff is going to get an Energy Ball off, maybe even an Aerial Ace if they want to get too greedy here. Energy Ball ends up landing, does a massive amount of damage to Cresselia. We reach another Aerial Ace, and now we have chipped it down into range where 1 or 2 drill runs from our Dunsparce will be more than enough to finish off this game, or this Cresselia rather, and potentially set us up for the end game. They throw a charge move, a Moonblast or a Future Sight will knock us out here. Grass Knot, on the other hand, not quite enough. I might be able to reach another charge move, and if it's going to be an Energy Ball, which it is at the last second, this is going to put them almost into fast move farm down range, even for our Shadow Annihilate. This is fantastic. This is going to be one of the best case scenarios here, where now we've basically taken out 2 Pokemon with just 1, and even though they have energy here, Dunsparce can easily absorb this, and then Annihilate with shield advantage should be in a very good spot. They end up bringing in Pangoro. Yeah, 2 shields in play, not much they can do there against our fast move pressure menace that was in the back. Alright, one of the worst leads you could possibly see with this team. We'll see if we can have any play here. We have Shadow Annihilate that is very stupid in matchups like this, though. Even though we are ABA weak to Talonflame, you can see that these counters are adding up quite a bit, and we do technically outpace them to these charge moves, at least the first one. We do let them throw first, though, just so I can throw on good time. I don't want to give them a full incineration Incinerate Sneak. That would be kind of catastrophic. Rage Fist going to come through, does a lot of damage if it lands, and if they end up shielding, then at least we got a shield back from them. We reach that next Rage Fist here before they're able to reach their next fly. This will either almost knock them out, maybe even knock them out here, or just draw a shield from them. They opt to shield, so Annihilate drawing 2 shields and basically countering them all the way down here, putting them deep into the red just with fast food pressure. This is what makes Annihilate so scary. Because we had shields down here this game, they are going to be in range where an Aerial could knock them out with their Jumpluff later on. I'm going to tank this damage here with our Dunsparce. Our opponent opts to stay in and gets fully rollouted down, which is one of the best things you could possibly see. But in the back, going to be a Diggersby and then a Morpeko. This is a little bit scary. They could definitely go for a Psychic Fangs bait or potentially go for an Aura Wheel. I'm going to shield, being safe that they're not going to go for a Psychic Fangs bait, but unfortunately for me, they do end up debuffing us here, which is not what you want to see. I do have this Energy Ball loaded up right now. This will maybe knock them out. We have super effective Fairy Winds. I have to hope that they don't reach an Aura Wheel. They do reach another Charge Move. I think at this point, though, this is just a Psychic Fangs. This isn't going to knock us out, but the 2 debuffs here put us in range where the next Fire Punch from that Diggersby could potentially do a lot of damage to us. I'm going to go for my Energy Ball here. We do win CMP, which is fantastic. It means that even if this next Fire Punch knocks us out, we get this damage off. We have a lot of energy on our Dunsparce rather as well. We get the defense drop against this Diggersby, and at this point, there is no way our opponent can win this game. We have so much energy left over on this Dunsparce. Even if we didn't get the debuff here with that Energy Ball, as long as we avoided a Scorching Sands debuff, we would easily be able to win this game. Drill Run ends up landing, does a massive amount of damage. We'd outpace them there to their next charge move. GG's to them. Alright, next game, Jumpluff up against a Clodsire. One of the most tricky matchups for this team. We actually don't have a single Pokemon on our team that just straight up beats Clodsire, so gonna be an interesting game, and I guess we're getting another interesting matchup here with a Wigglytuff in the backline. We do have Ice Punch, but I think Close Combat would actually be a little bit better here, because it would guarantee a shield, but they might shield anyway, respecting that Close Combat could one-shot them. They do opt to shield that move up, and we did get a shield advantage, I guess, in this matchup, but this is still not looking great. Clodsire in the backline going to be putting in a lot of work against us, potentially. We're going to try our best to neutralize this with our Jumpluff, see what they want to throw. It's almost certainly going to be an Icy Wind. We'll shield it up, see if we can go for a Fairy Wind down after the fact, after landing an Energy Ball of our own, and maybe there's a chance for us this game. I don't know. It's going to be a little bit tricky, though, if it is going to be a team with another hard answer to our team in the backline. We've already been hard answered by 2 Pokemon. Please let us have a little bit of a break in the back. We end up getting a full Fairy Wind down, actually, before another charge move is going to be reached. They were going for the full-on Icy Wind. They probably could have gone for a Swift if they wanted any sort of charge move pressure against us, but no, they're fine just getting Switch advantage, RPSing us with a Gastron. GG's to them. Alright, next I'm going to see a Jumpluff up against Dunsparce in the lead. Very awkward lead matchup, but I do have 2 things in the back that are either neutral or very strong into this. So what I want to do here is kind of dance around this matchup if possible. I can go for these Energy Balls, chip them down pretty low, and then make it so maybe I can catch Rock Slides on either my Annihilate or on my Dunsparce. Energy Ball ends up landing, and now we swap here after the next rollout. We end up catching a move. Rock Slide rather, is going to do a lot less damage than a Drill Run would have ended up doing. So I'm very happy about that catch, but our opponent actually has a very tricky Pokemon for us to see in the backline, a Shadow Annihilate of their own. We're going to go for this Drill Run, try to draw a shield from them if I can get a second one off, but if they counter us all the way down, we're going to be in a bit of a tricky spot. We do actually reach the next Drill Run, fantastic, we'll get a shield, but Annihilate, if this is running Ice Punch as well on our opponent's side here, this is going to be terrible for us right now, because Ice Punch basically will knock us out from this range. I think I have to respect it at this point. I can't really come in my own Annihilate into this, and they end up baiting us with the Rage Fist. Either that means they are just baiting us, or they actually do have Ice Punch, or maybe they just don't even have Ice Punch, and I'm shielding for no reason. I'm just going to double shield, though. Maybe they have it. They're just going for Rage Fist at this point. They must not even have the move. They got 2 baits against us. Well played. I'm going to go for this next Aerial here, knock out this Shadow Annihilate if possible, or maybe draw a shield from them. They do let it go, and now I'm going to try to use our Jumpluff once again to catch a move with our Shadow Annihilate. We have energy on Jumpluff. As long as they don't hard counter us in the backline, we should have some sort of chance here, but our opponent hard counters us in the backline with a Corsola. I tried, I caught 2 moves, but not much I could do there. Alright, next matchup, we're going to see a Jumpluff into a Serperior, one of the best lead matchups that you could really see. Obviously, Grass-type damage, almost nothing to me, but the worst thing about this, though, is that we have to throw 3 charge moves in the Zero Shield matchup if I want to end up winning this one. They throw an Aerial Ace of their own. They are throwing non-stab Aerial Aces, so it's not going to do that much damage, and we outpace them with our Aerial Ace. It's just a little bit of an awkward matchup here, where I need 3 charge moves to knock them out, at least in the Zero Shield matchup, and since I'm not running Acrobatics, it's not going to do much damage to them in the first place, but I will still be very happy to neutralize this, so our Dunsparce gets to avoid it later on. They're going to throw another charge move here in just a second, but if I don't throw my next charge move immediately, they will get that 3rd Aerial Ace off, and I will be very low or potentially even get knocked out here. I'm just going to throw instantly. I want to keep Switch advantage if possible, and just knock this thing out so our backline doesn't have to deal with it. Let's see what our opponent decides to do. They do opt to let that go, and they come in with a Dugong. I don't want to stay in that matchup because I don't want to get fully farmed down there. I have 2 very strong answers to this in the backline, and for some reason they have not swapped out to our Shadow Annihilate swapping into them. Rage is going to come through. It doesn't even get shielded. They're just opting to sack their Dugong the completely, I guess. This is crazy. I don't even know why they haven't swapped out yet, unless they're just really not that strong against Shadow Annihilate. We've already boosted our attack once, they lowered it there, and in comes a Shadow Quagsire. This Pokemon is not known for taking a lot of fast food pressure, at least not very well. This Rage Fist will end up getting shielded, but you can see just how much damage I'm doing with fast moves already this game. We ramped up by one stage, we got debuffed, we buffed ourselves twice, so we are at +1 overall, and we can reach yet another Rage Fist here before they can get to another Aqua Tail on this Quagsire. We also still have our Jumpluff that can get to a charge move against this. We have our Dunsparce that is in a very good spot to close out the game against that Dugong as well. At this point, we should be in a very winning position. Aqua Tail does end up knocking us out, but we have a bit of energy on our Jumpluff. Even an Aqua Tail might not be enough to knock us out here. They probably need a full-on Stone Edge if they want to take us out. So this Aerialist will be more than enough to take them down. We can swap out here, or potentially try to Fairy Wind down. We can't quite get that fast food farm down, so we'll go into our Dunsparce, get the rollout down, and take the win there. GG's to our opponent. All right, next matchup, another water type in the lead. This time it's going to be an Azumarill, actually. A Pokemon that, while it is a decent matchup, we actually can't win the Zero Shields. That's kind of crazy to say, but because we don't two-shot with an Energy Ball without a debuff, and because they do two-shot us with Ice Beams, it is a matchup where you actually do end up losing to this water type in certain scenarios. They do reach the Ice Beam here. It's going to do a lot of damage. It doesn't quite one-shot us. With that said, I'm kind of fine losing this matchup because I do have my Annihilate that's a pretty good matchup into it, but they end up swapping out actually at a random time here to their Shadow Drifblim, a Pokemon that we are a little bit weak to in the backline, and I guess ABA weak to, right, with our Jumpluff, but since we have our Dunsparce, we can hard response to it with this rock type user that is also resisting these Astonishes, which is fantastic for us right now. We are debuffed one stage, so this rock side might not be enough to knock out yet, not quite yet, but we can roll out all the way down, have a lot of energy for the backline, whatever is going to come into us, and we should be in a pretty good position here as long as the backline isn't like super RPS. I'm actually going to wait a little bit to knock this out, so I can swap out potentially in just a second here. I can go for this Drill Run, I can swap out, because now we know they're full team, right? They have this Annihilate, they have the Azumarill, they are so incredibly weak to our Jumpluff, we don't want to give them that farm down there. That is the way that we lose the game. We are at 2 Aerialaces right now, we can throw them back to back, potentially knock out this Annihilate and be in a very good position. They opt to throw a charge move here. I have another Aerialist loaded up right now. I can try to throw it, or potentially see if they're going to try to catch on us right now. Rage Fist ends up getting shielded. We do not see a catch here, so Aerialist is either going to knock out this Annihilate or get the next shield from them, and depending on what they do, will determine what I want to do. The thing is, we still have a Drill Run actually on our Dunsparce, or we are very close to it. I can come in Dunsparce, throw the charge move, and then use my Shadow Annihilate as a way to neutralize their Azumarill there in the backline. We have a little bit of health left over on our Dunsparce, not quite enough to reach another charge move, so I will still swap out. I think at this point, though, not much this Azumarill can do. We are going to reach a Rage Fist, and despite the fact that our counters are resisted, look at how much damage we've already done. They were at half health, now they're at a quarter health, just with fast moves already. We can reach this Rage Fist here. It is going to do more than enough to put them into range where we can counter them all the way down, and this should be under wraps here for our Shadow Annihilate. Looks like we counter all the way down once again against Azumarill. It's a very clunky matchup, honestly, as the fairy type into our fighter. I absolutely love it as the Annihilate. Alright, next game, a Talonflame in the lead. One of the trickiest matchups that we can see. Once again, we did win the last one that we saw, but this one is staying in. If they have Flame Charge, this matchup's actually a lot worse because they end up incinerating through you quite a bit quicker. This one is staying in and throwing a Fly, it looks like, so not Incinerate. That's good to see, but they end up swapping to Azumarill. We've been kind of taunting Azumarill, right, with our Annihilate all day, but I think this is going to be the first time where it's actually going to be a real problem. The biggest issue is I don't think I can draw a shield from them before they can take another shield from me. So it's looking like I'm either going to lose both of my shields or shield and switch advantage, which is absolutely terrible for us. They do end up throwing a charge move here. I can shield this up if I want to try to fight for switch, but if I do go down 2 shields, it can potentially lead to some pretty bad matchups later on this game if I don't just RPS whatever the final Pokemon is. I reach another Rage Fist. They have to shield this if they don't want me to get switch advantage, but our opponent opts to let it go. They're fine with me getting switched. They might farm me down with Talonflame. They might show their final Pokemon. What is going to come in here right now? They are waiting down for just a second. They come back in Talonflame. They incinerate down right before our next Rage Fist is reached, and we do have our rock type user here, our rollouts, doing so much damage to this Talonflame, but they have a little bit of energy, probably going to be a Fly or maybe a Brave Bird coming through right now, just a Fly it looks like, and now in comes their final Pokemon, a Pokemon we do kind of answer with our Jumpluff, but I don't think this is going to be a good enough answer, right? We do have Aerial Ace, but they also have Aerial Ace. It's super effective against us. If they can reach 3, and if 3 are enough to knock us out, we're just going to lose this game because they're going to outpace us with the energy lead, and they have 2 shields. They can double shield their Serperior. This is going to be a close game, though. If we can survive that 3rd Aerial Ace and at least chip this thing down with 1 charge move, potentially we could win this matchup, but I don't know if it's going to be possible at all. Next move is going to come through. Aerial Ace does end up getting shielded once again, so he took both shields down, which is nice, but they're at back-to-back charge moves right now. I do have mine, though. If I can survive 2 aces, I might have a chance to land one of my own, but that is looking very close. Do I survive this? It's going to be a 1 HP survive if I can possibly take this move. We do survive. We get the release off, and now we have energy on our Dunsparce, but are they in range where I can knock them out with a Rock Slide here after these rollouts? I can go for 3 rollouts and then a Rock Slide, but it's going to be so close. I think they might survive this, and if they survive, they'll get off a Frenzy Plant and take out my Dunsparce. They survive with just a little bit too much health for that next rollout, and this is honestly such a close game, but I don't think I'm going to be able to survive this move, right? Yeah, no, this Frenzy Plant able to knock us out, and then they Vine Whip down our Jumpluff. GG's to them. Very tricky matchup. Almost came back from it, but not quite enough in the tank for us there, that end game. Right, next game, I'm going to see a Diggersby in the lead. One of the trickiest leads, honestly, to play out, just because a lot of times they stay in this lead matchup, and our Jumpluff would be a little bit more useful in the back line. But I am still going to try to take a shield advantage, and if possible, I wouldn't mind if they swap out at some point, use my Shadow Annihilape against this later on. We'll see what they end up doing. Energy Ball ends up landing, and it does a massive amount of damage, puts them pretty close to where even our Dunsparce could probably deal with this. They throw another Charge Move. Fire Punch is going to do quite a bit of damage to us, and it's going to come down to what is their final Pokemon, or what's their backline, I guess, just in general, and does our Shadow Annihilape have any play once the Diggersby's gone? Because that's always a big question, right? They're weak to fighting in the lead. They likely have fighting type answers in the backline. But no, it looks like this one's actually running a Annihilape of their own. That's a very interesting Pokemon to bring into a Jumpluff here. I don't really want to give them the full farm down. I don't know if I can quite reach the next charge move. It doesn't look like I can. So I'm going to swap out right before they're going to be able to get that full farm down to make sure I can get to another Rage Fist before they reach 2. We are going to be shielding the first one here because I know at this point that it's going to be a little bit scary if they opt to ramp up with this Annihilape and if they can counter us all the way down, because as I was saying earlier, if they land the Rage Fist against us or if I land the Rage Fist against them, you can just shield once farm down before 2 charge moves are reached. I need to be worried about that myself. We end up winning CMP, which is good to know. I can CMP on the next move here, potentially knock them out, or maybe they'll catch, but if they catch on something like an overfarm back up to another Rage Fist, we should be in a decent spot here. Toxapex ends up coming in. This is going to be a Pokemon that I do have a lot of play into, but because they made that play, I'm going to have to make sure that I always have a Rage Fist on my ape so I can neutralize this Toxapex later on. In comes our Dunsparce here to try to knock out with some drill runs against this Toxapex. This is going to do a lot of damage. It's going to likely be a Sludge Wave right now, but I don't want to let them get a huge farm down with Annihilape, and I don't want to lag a turn. That's always a lose condition in a situation like this, where if my Annihilape is going to be down a turn when it swaps in, it potentially could get sniped down by a Rage Fist, so I have to keep that in mind. They end up throwing another charge move here at the last second, but I know this is just a brine. It's not going to knock us out, and I have a drill run. I can knock out that Toxapex here pretty easily, or potentially even throw it against the Annihilape if I need to. Our opponent at that point, realizing that it is over, luckily not even going for the potential one-turn lag win condition. All right, next game, a Shadow Alolan Sandslash, one of the worst leads that we can see here. I'm going to come in with Shadow Annihilape. Why are they staying in? Okay, well, we just did so much damage with just counters. Basically got, I think at that point, about 80% of their health just with fast move pressure with 4 counters. That is fantastic, because also this energy lead is going to help out so much against this Azumarill right now. We end up shielding up this matchup because I know with the energy lead that we have, and with the amount of damage I've already done to that Alolan Sandslash, we should be in a very good spot if we can keep on applying pressure here. Rage Fist is going to end up coming through. Do they want to shield the second one? No, they opt to let it go. So at this point, I know I can probably shield farm all the way down here. Oh, I can't quite reach the move, but I'm going to throw this Rage Fist at the last second. This might even be a shield KO right now. If it is, oh my goodness. It is fantastic, and they just top left there. Honestly, fair enough. That's one of the worst situations you can be in. GG's to our opponent. Oh, I guess we have to play this one again. Another Shadow Alolan Sandslash in lead. One of the worst lead matchups. They end up staying in for not quite as long as the last time, but the thing is, Shadow Annihilape has got such an energy lead here. I can outpace this Shadow Alolan Marowak. I know that I've seen teams like this quite often where there's 2 Mudslappers in the backline, so if that is the case, flipping Switch would be absolutely massive for us. With that said, I don't know if I quite yet can, because this Pokemon is doing so much damage with Mudslap right now. Can I survive long enough to flip Switch? I'll at least get a shield advantage, but if it is a Gastrodon in the backline, I need Switch at all costs. Rage Fist ends up coming through, but they end up shielding it. We get a Cyber KO. That is a saving grace. I have a 50-50 shot. Do they come in Alolan Sandslash or their final Pokemon? I'm going to come in Jumpluff here, hope that Alolan Sandslash does not come in. In comes the Gastrodon, and then the Shadow Alolan Sandslash in the backline. Dunsparce able to easily respond to it and take the game there. Alright, next matchup, an Azumarill in the lead. Luckily, not another Alolan Sandslash. With that said, this Pokemon does have Ice Beam, but another trainer who is going to instantly save swap to a Shadow Drifblim, a Pokemon that is going to have Icy Wind to debuff us, but honestly, it's not the worst matchup in the world because we are able to go for these rollouts, resist Astonish, and then Rock Slide is also super effective, so Dunsparce one of the best possible answers to the Shadow Drifblim. They're staying in here because obviously they are switch locked, but they probably wouldn't mind swapping out if they could. I want to make sure we can take them out before that is even an option. Icy Wind is going to come through once again against us. We are double debuffed with our Dunsparce, but I'm kind of fine with that. I want to keep switch advantage if I can, keep our Annihilate as far away from that Azumarill as we can. We know that Azumarill is going to be a Pokemon that has a little bit of play for our Annihilate, but I would rather have my Jumpluff on it. With that said, if they get too much of an energy lead here, that could be a little bit awkward, but the way I see it, if I can land 3 Drill Runs, despite the fact that they're double debuffed, this will put them close to range where Energy Ball could knock out this Pokemon, and we might still be in a good spot. Drill Run number 2 comes through, Drill Run number 3 once again coming through. You can tell that we're doing almost no damage here because of these debuffs, but it is adding up over time, almost getting them down to half health. Our Jumpluff can come in, at least survive one Ice Beam here, and potentially reach another Energy Ball before they're able to reach their next Ice Beam. This move is going to come through, Ice Beam putting us close to the red health, but as long as we can land this Energy Ball, it is going to make it so our Annihilate has a much easier time in the backline. Energy Ball is either going to get shielded here or no shielded. They probably could have survived that, but they opt to shield it up, save their Azumarill, and at this point, I like the idea of a shield advantage Shadow Annihilate. At this point, Azumarill is in a range where we can easily deal with it. Our opponent swaps to their final Pokemon, and it is exactly what I want to see. It might not be a good matchup, but it's not a bad matchup. It's a place where I can throw a Rage Fist, shield twice, farm all the way down, and have way too much energy for that Azumarill to try to overcome later on this game. Azumarill is not going to be able to reach a charge move. I think they're 4 bubbles away from their next charge attack, so as long as I have enough energy to reach 2 Rage Fists before they can reach an Ice Beam, we should have this game in the bag. They're throwing yet another move. They'll get both of my shields with Serperior, but I can farm them all the way down right now, making it so their life is very uncomfortable here with this Azumarill coming back in. We are going to be able to easily throw this Rage Fist. It will either almost knock them out or get a shield. They end up letting it through, and now I can get a full counter down and knock out the Azumarill here before they even get a chance to throw a charge move. GG's to them. All right, next game, a Clodsire, this time in the lead. Honestly, one of the worst case scenarios that we could see. But we're going to save swap our Shadow Annihilate with Ice Punch, see what we can do. They come in with a Shadow Gator, actually, as the response, which is not actually the best answer to us, right? We do take a lot of super effective Shadow Claw damage, but after ramping up, look at how much damage my counters are doing right now. We can shield this, farm all the way down, flip switch advantage. I know they'll get a second Hydro Cannon, so they will be able to draw another shield from me, but I'm a boosted Annihilate at this point. I have Ice Punch if that Clodsire comes back in. I have Rage Fist for anything else potentially. They do come back in with Clodsire. This is what Ice Punch is very helpful for. Look at how much damage it's going to do to a Clodsire of all things. Over half of its health with a non-stab Ice-type charge move. That is exactly what you want to see. They are also forced to throw a charge move before the next Rage Fist is going to be reached. Sludge Bomb is going to be revealed, so we now know that they're not running Stone Edge, and in the back is going to be their own Annihilate. We have our Jumpluff for this, so flipping switch here was absolutely massive. If we had our Clodsire up against, or if we had their Clodsire against our Jumpluff and their Annihilate up against our Dunsparce, this would have been an absolutely terrible endgame, but fortunately flipping switch and making, our Jumpluff here is going to have so much more play, is going to make it so we should be able to win this game. With that said, since they are not running Ice Punch on their Annihilate, we can also survive 2 Rage Fists, but they are getting close to where they could probably catch their 3rd charge move, so maybe if I want to win this game, I'd have to wait a turn, see what they're going to do if they're going to swap out of this Annihilate. I want to make sure that we can land this charge move where I want to, but if they do catch, I can see a win condition still anyway, where we can throw a Drill Run against that Clodsire. Looks like I did wait a turn. Unfortunately, we did end up lagging, and the visuals did not update, but I know we should still have this game in the bag. We have a full health Dunsparce here, and we also know that they do not have a close combat loaded on that Annihilate. All we have to do here is overfarm enough to get to 2 charge moves, 1 against this Clodsire, 1 against that Annihilate, and I should be able to win this game. Drill Run is going to be thrown against this Clodsire. They are well within range where this is going to knock out. The next charge move is going to come through soon as well, going to knock out this Annihilate and should take us the game, beating a fighting type Pokemon with our poor little normal type Pokemon here. GG's to our opponent, Shadow Annihilate, once again proving why it is such a strong Pokemon, why it's such a threat, especially with Ice Punch there, knocking out that Clodsire almost all the way with a boosted Ice Punch. It's a very flexible moveset, and with a 5-0 here, getting us all the way up into 28-21, top 10 in the world. This is as high as I've really been this season, and it's so close to the 2900s here. No one has reached Legend just yet. No one is even in the 2900s, so having that race at the start of the season is always something I try to go for, try to get Legend as quick as possible. So we'll see when that is. Probably not going to be for another week or so, but, you know, I'll try to push as hard as I can. Alright, well, thank you so much for watching today's video. I stream my battles live basically every day at twitch.tv/ItsAXN, so if you want to see this kind of content live, please make sure to check me out there. Thank you again for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.